Hello and welcome back to Everlasting Summer, and before I start, would anybody else like to take guesses on how close we are to the end? Actually, you don't have to guess. I'm willing to bet that this part's going to get uploaded on the Friday, so you'll know if it's the last one or not. But regardless, I would say we're pretty close to the end. So this is probably either the last part or the penultimate part. We'll have to see. The camp leader stood on the threshold, apparently waiting for me. I thought you wouldn't come. I didn't reply, just bounded inside, packed my winter clothes into a bag and ran out. Come on already, it's time. In a minute, we stood at the bus stop, together with the other pioneers. Everyone's here? Began Olga. You're leaving our camp today. I'd like to tell you something in parting. She was visibly nervous and desperately lost for words. I hope that you'll remember the time you've spent here for a lifetime, and that you'll only retain pleasant memories about Sauvignac. I also hope that you became at least a little bit better, and managed to learn something, and found new friends. Just come back next year. And the camp leader turned away. It seemed like she was trying to hold back her tears. I didn't expect her to get so emotional, but I completely agreed with everything she said. Perhaps it was the first time that I didn't turn a deaf ear to her. Oh, I think I'll miss this camp. Even Olga. Though, if this is the start of a new life, then why not come back here one more time? Sauvignac was far behind, and the week had passed like an instant and come to an end. That was the beginning of something new, my new life in a new world. Together with Slavia. The moon was shining, making everything as bright as day, and beyond the bus windows endless fields were passing, on occasion dressed up in grey but no less cheerful outfits, decorated the distance with dark green of the mighty forests. Anyway, the surroundings were the least of my concerns right now. I was enjoying the moment. Slavia and I were sitting in the last row looking at the other pioneers. Ahead, Uliana was going wild, running through the cabin and shouting. Lena was reading a book, Alicia was sleeping. Seems like this world is just absolutely normal. And it doesn't really matter how I got here if everything turned out so wonderfully. I became a different person, met Slavia. What are you thinking about? Life. Oh, and how's it going? Just great. She laughed softly. You know, let it wait a little. The bus is rocking me to sleep, and I'll take a nap if you don't mind. Sure, go ahead. She rested her head on my shoulder, and she soon fell asleep. The imminent arrival at the district centre, and a new chapter in my life didn't worry me at all. When you're on top of the world, the small things don't bother you. So I fell asleep as soon as I felt tired, with no fear of anything. I'm half expecting him now to wake... I'm half expecting him to wake up on the bus that he originally went to sleep on. There are dreams that you don't want to wake up from. It's like one is floating down in a warm river towards a place far beyond the horizon, blissfully watching the vain world hidden behind the clouds. And the past is left behind, and its echoes do not tear your soul. And the future is right here, and you just have to reach out. It doesn't matter what's awaiting you there. The very process of immersing yourself in this fairy world of serenity and happiness is itself much more important. I've always believed that the universe was one in this state, where one day it'll return to it again. Our life is just the blink of an eye, just a second in comparison to the universe. The birth and death of stars is a minute, and those of galaxies are hours. But even all of that, all put together, will not even be a day. Nobody thinks how to live each specific second, so does it really matter what each drop in the stormy river, running beyond the horizon of existence, does? I opened my eyes, and I stretched blissfully. I had no desire to stand up, as I felt like I was in perfect bliss, muffled in a blanket. After all, I don't have to go anywhere. As usual, actually. And I don't have any plans. So why shouldn't I just sleep? I rolled over and stared at the old worn wallpaper covering the curved wall. I wonder how long ago the last time they renovated this room was. And why does it have wallpaper here instead of bare wood, anyway? Vague, warming bells began ringing somewhere deep in my mind. I threw the blanket away, jumped up, and furiously began to look around. Yes, I was in my flat again, and at first I was paralysed, and the shock was so strong that my brain was unable to process what was going on. I just stood and gazed at the screen on the monitor and the table beside me, and I couldn't think. I even forgot to breathe, and finally my mind began to clear. What happened, anyway? I fell asleep on the bus going to the district centre? Yes, something like that. And Slavia was sitting by my side. And now I'm back here. And it seems like during the week I spent at the camp I'd gotten so used to the fact that I'd never returned to my previous life that now I have no idea how to react to all this. After all, my first main wish was to get home. But in the end, everything was like in a bad movie. At last I'd come back, but I'm still shocked. No fear. No, I felt no fear. I was rather interested and upset. After all, I'd already made up my mind to start a new life with Slavia, leaving my problems behind, insults, suffering, self-examination, unfinished affairs, plans for the future. Obviously, that life couldn't be worse than this one, at least. There's no returning to it now. But on the other hand, if someone had told me a week ago that I would be sent to a different world just like that, in the blink of an eye, I wouldn't have believed him. So what makes such a fantastic event happening again so impossible? Moving my legs with difficulty, I went to the kitchen and got a glass of water and returned to the room, and the ice-cold liquid with the disgusting aftertaste of bleaching powder revived me to some degree. Now I had to decide what to do next, and suddenly I realised that I couldn't bear the silence. After turning on the computer, I launched a random song in the player and managed to calm down somewhat. But seriously speaking, what can I do? Recently I realised that absolutely nothing is up to me. And by someone's will I was pulled out of my usual world and then sent back. No answers were found during the week in the camp. What's the point in speculating now? I must forget everything that happened, like a bad dream. Maybe they were just hallucinations. I don't care now. The only thing that prevented me from completely forgetting the short period of my life was Slavia. I recalled her smile and the time we spent together, and from the meeting on the very first day to the night in the forest and our departure from the camp, my heart furiously jumped inside my chest, spreading oppressive pain throughout my body. I liked her at first sight. So gentle, so caring, so understanding. Just like that anime heroine. What was her name? The one who helped an antisocial fellow like me deal with depression. If you think about it, there are no such people in real life. Slavia asked nothing in return, needed no encouragement, never expected to be understood or praised for her work. She was just being herself, a girl that can't exist in real life. If you think clearly, that's really exactly what she was. It seems like I've seen one single week-long dream. About the pioneer camp, the Soviet teenagers and the camp leader. About warm summer nights and gatherings around a fire. About light-hearted children's games and simple human joys. One moment that lasted a week, and the everlasting summer. But not just seem. I've been there. I was a part of everything, and my eyes unwillingly filled with tears. Not tears of pain or despair, but tears of sorrow and bright melancholy. Even if everything is over, I experienced something that most people could never even dream about. Slavia's image flashed in my head, brighter and brighter. I would love so much for her to return to the camp from that camp with me. Maybe I have nothing to offer her now, but my entire life is still ahead of me. I guess I learned a lot of useful lessons from these events, and I couldn't help thinking that it all seemed too perfect, like it was written according to some simple plan. Lose a hero, fantastic incident, a wonderful transformation. But I guess that's not possible. Not in this life. Will I become the person I was before, only a day or a week later? It's the most realistic course of events. But one thing's for sure. I'll never be able to go back. About a month has passed since I returned from Sauvignac, or to say more correctly, since I woke up. I returned to my usual life as a loner, surfing the internet for days, going outside only to shop. And as expected, it did begin to suit me again. Well, obviously, moments of melancholy and depression occurred. A person like me just can't do without them, but they lasted no longer than usual. Except those times when, while sleeping, I returned to that summer, to that mysterious camp. But after awakening, I tried to banish these thoughts as soon as possible. After all, what's the point of dreaming of becoming a wizard? Even if miracles happen, and, well, I was proof that they do, they happen completely independent of us. The word sweet doesn't give you a sweet taste, regardless of how often you pronounce it. But nevertheless, something has changed in my existence. Before I didn't think ahead, didn't really care how long I would live, whether it was 1 week or 40 years, but now I look forward to it with optimism. It's not like I've tried to change anything or become a different person, but the world seemed more understandable. Not simple, not friendly. Well, not friendly at all, but just understandable. Before, I couldn't cope with some events or facts, though I kind of realised they were there for a reason. But now I started seeing life as something simpler. What happens, happens for the best. Or at least it happens and I can live with it, and if I can't, well, I'm powerless in that case. I guess I just started smiling more often, or at least didn't carry that look of deep universal frustration 24/7. Even my acquaintances, on the internet obviously, noticed some change in me, and their opinions agreed that those changes are good. Now I think I'm ready to live on, thanks to Sovniok and its inhabitants. Without them I wouldn't be able... It was the beginning of January, and the city had barely recovered from the New Year hangover. The streets were almost empty during the day, not to mention the nights, when the only stranger walking down the street seemed extremely busy with some business, rushing somewhere for a reason that couldn't wait. I had no such reason, and just decided to have a little walk. It is necessary to get some fresh air sometimes, and a winter's night is the best time to be alone with yourself. I'd always thought that true solitude can be felt in a crowd rather than a burning hot desert, a boundless plain, or on top of a mountain covered with snow. In the stream of people, words, thoughts and aspirations, everyone had their own aim and direction, and I was the only one strolling among them, deserving no attention from others. Maybe they're like vectors, moving in different directions, and they never meet at Cartesian coordinates. It's the same thing here. These people are walking, running in one direction, and I'm dragging along in another. But do I feel lonely? Before, yes, but now, highly unlikely. In the bright, blinding lights of the city, the noise of cars and the swirling crowds, I enjoyed a heavenly symphony of silence. But now, the situation is slightly different. There's just me in the street, so I'm alone, not only with my own self, but with the whole world. Being a sand grain in a desert is not the same thing as being a water drop in an ocean. In the crowd, nobody noticed me. Nobody paid any attention. But now everyone who peeks out the window or sees me while driving past will think, why can't he just stay home? Maybe he has some urgent matter. Suppose he's mad. Or just drunk. I never liked standing out from the crowd when it's not appropriate, so opposing society was never an option for me. But now it was different. As if I tried to tell everybody, look, I can be happy too. You need your TV and your hot chocolate, but I just need the snow, the night, a dark room and a dull monitor screen. Look, and I'm not any worse off than you. I felt sadness, but it was a serene sadness. Do I really need the things that they have and I do not? Maybe I have something much more valuable. I didn't notice how I came to the bus stop of Route 410. Nice big racks of memories. I sat down and rummaged in my pockets, trying to find cigarettes, but the packet was empty. Fine. I crumpled it, threw it in the bin. Maybe I'll get healthier. A lonely star was shining in the sky. Today I read on the internet that, according to the calculations of scientists, one of the most beautiful astronomical events has already ceased to exist, and we'll only see it decades later. Maybe this star's exploded as well, and now it's only a beautiful image in the night sky, somewhere near a lost planet, on the edge of the galaxy. However, why does one or another thing exist? Is it simply because it's there, has shape, and can be touched? Or is it because we believe that it exists? At first thought the answer is simple. But on the other hand, even if the star is gone, we could still see its cold light. Maybe it helped someone get out of a snowy winter forest. Gave someone hope, or a bit of warmth to someone else. Could a simple astronomical object that exploded God knows when do all this? Can billions of people believe in something that doesn't really exist? But belief in itself has never made any object real. Well, at least none that I've ever heard of. The snowfall grew stronger now, as if it was a real snowstorm. Midnight. Will my carriage turn into a pumpkin for a few moments? Maybe the return from Sauvignac is the end of my own version of the Cinderella tale. But even so, is it really that bad an end? Why, any tale contains at least a bit of truth. I remembered Slavia, stood up, took off the snow, and went slowly into the night. I felt no sorrow, had no regrets. Or maybe that all this is just another episode of that tale, that warming dream which I wanted so much to continue. Why can't it repeat if it happened once already? And what if I met Slavia in reality? True Endurer. Okay. Oh, that was the bad ending with Slavia, was it? Okay. Every story has its beginning and its end. Every story has its own outline, synopsis, contents, key points, a prologue and an epilogue. And there is no book which, if you read it again, would not reveal new details that you didn't notice before. Every story has its beginning and its end. Almost every. Yes, I think this might be effectively credits. Not sure yet. Yeah, this is the credits. So yeah, that was apparently the bad ending with her. No idea what I would have had to do differently to get the good ending, but oh well. Still, that was a very unusual game, I've got to say. That was probably one of the strangest things I've played in a long time. Yeah, I'm going to have to coalesce my thoughts and bring everything together, and start writing the review. So, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in future series. And given games like this often have a post-credits scene, you might want to just quickly skip ahead to check. I don't know if it will or not, but we'll see. So, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in future series.